Hello, this is Christian. Welcome to Angular. In this course, we'll be talking about component communications from the child to the parent. So in this diagram, you see that the child can pass data to the parent through the output directive via the template, or it can also use the DIA or dependency injection to pass data. But in this video, we're just going to be doing the output directive. In this diagram here, you see the flow of data from the child component is bound to the parent through these reference points called child points that is attached or decorated with this output directive. Now, in order for this to work, you must emit event, right? So if you think about how data are received from the view to the source is always through these event, that key up, key down, click event, and things like that. So the same concept applies here. So that means the object that is needed is going to be an event emitter type. So you need to import that here. And then as soon as let's say you click at the button on the view, it's going to call a function. That function will emit a message or whatever it is, need to pass to the parent through this .emit function here. And then it will pass through the view in the parent component through a tag that is associated with the child tag component. And then this data here will be passed to an event property of the function you can set in the parent component, and then you can extract the data through the points. In this case, it would be a points or whatever this data is you pass to the parent, and you can consume that data up here in the parent component. So let's go and see how this works in Angular. Well, first of all, here's the app that we built earlier. This time we're going to be implementing the code inside the child B component, and we're going to pass some data, in this case maybe some messages, to the parent component. And so let's go and do some modification. But I also want to remove this footer here. This should be like, it should stick to the bottom of the page to give us some room here. Okay, so I'm going to just modify that a little bit. All right, let's go to the code. So again, just make sure your app is running. I did already, so I don't have to run it again. I'm going to go and add another tab here to generate a component for the child B component. So G for generate, C for component. Inside the components folder, we're going to generate a child-B component. -is mean no style sheet, and then -- skip test, no tests needed. All right, so that should generate a component.ts and a template for us inside the components folder here in the app directory. I got it incorrect because I need to be inside the my app folder. Click console. Let's do one more time, and this time it should work, hopefully. All right, well, that's running. I'm going to go and fix my footer. Okay, so we got it here. So the footer here, so I'm just going to make it, add another class here. It's called, you can just call it fixed bottom. I mean, Bootstrap is really nice, makes all this really easy. And I'm going to remove the border as well. I'll keep the top at 5, say put MT for 5, but I'll remove the bottom border, so it'll be 0 in the bottom. So now that should give us a really nice setup at the output. If you look back here, you can see that it now sticks to the bottom of the page. Okay, so we're going to add a message box right here that will be waiting to receive from the child. Okay, and in the child box, we're going to add maybe like a text area. We can enter some messages, and we have a button here. So we click submit, and the data will pass to the parent, and it will enter right in this area here. All right, so here we go. We're going to close this one here, close all these terminal commands, and then go into the app component HTML first. We're going to move these information, the H2 all the way to the line 18. I'm going to move that to the child B component HTML, replace all of that here, and this to a document format. Save that, and then right in here we're going to replace that with the app child child B right there for now. And then in the app components, we're going to create a variable here, and the variable would be something like maybe message from let's just say child B message, and initially we're just going to say something like waiting dot dot dot. Okay, and then we'll bind that message to a variable in the component here. So let me add another maybe box right below here. We'll put like an H3, I guess. Let's say something like message from child B, and then right below that we'll put the actual message, maybe like a paragraph. Oh, I don't know, H4 maybe. And then we'll put the message in here. We'll say message. Oh, what do we call it? Child B message. I think that's what we called inside that class, right? If I'm not mistaken. And we can check in to see if that's correct. Let's go to the view and see if it shows up. Okay, so message from B, and it says waiting right here. Why don't we put like a gray box around it to kind of match what's up here? So let's go and do that. This H4, maybe we'll give it a class of, you know, a BG color of secondary, a padding all around, maybe a 4 or something like that. And yeah, I think something like that would be fine. And we'll see what that looks like. There you go. Well, that's a little bit too big, but we'll make it around here, same size of the box, and we'll change the color to maybe like an orange, kind of yellow to match that. So just basically modify the columns. Instead of column, we'll put like MD6, like this one up here. Okay. So MD6, that should make the column shorten. And let's change the text color to say text. So white, so, no, we'll make it a warning, kind of the orange color for the text. So hopefully that will fix it. There we go, looks good. All right, so you can make it round if you want to, but that's just good enough. Okay, so let's go and then add the code. Well, I like it round. Let's add a round, rounded. There we go. That's good. So now, in the child B component, we're going to bind to another. Notice we don't use the square brackets like we did up here. The square brackets is you binding to a variable to a property. This time we're going to bind to, if you think of it like a function, right? Like a click event or something, you bind to an event. And the event is going to be called whatever we want to call because we have the option. So I'll just call it, what should we call it? I'll just say child. I call child B message already. I want to call that. I'm just say a message from child B. I know it's kind of long, but that's okay. And that's going to be bound to a another function here. We just say received from B. Okay, and then we receive the event from B. Okay, so whatever this is will be received. So I'm gonna go and copy this into the app component. We're gonna create a function down here. This function is called that, and we receive an event. So in this case, just gonna be a message, and the message is gonna be of type string. Put that here. And then when the message is received, we're gonna change the message to this child B's message. So we'll say this that child B message is be assigned to this new message coming from the child. And at the same time, we're gonna console log this. So I'm gonna say console log and I'll put here the I should say parent child, message from child B, and I'll put here the message. Okay, we'll print that to the console so we know that the parent received it. And then I think that should be good for this one. Now let's go to the child component and the child B component here. Remember we use this function here, right, or this property here to reference this child B. So let's go in here, and just like the other one, this time we're going to use the output, because output means data going out from here to the parent, and this is the variable we use, and it's going to be an event emitter. So event emitter. Now, and the type will be we use string type, and we call it a function. So make sure that when you import this in, it needs to be part of the core and not the protractor. Okay, so that's different stuff. So just put it right in here, and then remove that protractor thing. Okay, so now that is now linked to the parent component. And again, the child B has no idea who is going to. All you know is that it's sending some data out. Whoever wants it, you can use this property. Okay, and so in the child component here, we need to modify the B view, and let's say I'm going to add a, maybe right below here, a text area, and we'll have a so text area will put some messages, and we'll add some classes here. This will be a form control. So I want to use that form control. I'm going to give it, what should I give? A rounded 0 or something like that. Okay, just a typical form control. Now, when I do that, I put here a button as well. The button will just say send data or send message to the parent, right? And then we're going to associate this with a type will be button, the class, again the btn, I'll put here medium, we'll put the BG, the background will be, I could just use primary. Let's use successful green. Okay, and then it's going to bound to a function. So click event. When we click this button, it's going to say send to parent, something like that. Okay, and we'll create this function inside the parent. Whatever this is, it's going to attach, grab the data from this text area. But before we do that, though, we have to bind this text area to another variable. So let's bind this right now. We can use the ng model. You can do one-way or two-way data binding, doesn't matter. I'll do just two-way data binding anyway, just because, right? You don't have to, but it could be just one way. So to do a two-way binding, you just use the banana operator, right? Looks like that. Okay, and then here put ng model, and then assign to whatever this variable is. So I'll just put here message. Okay, you can pull it child B message. I guess child B message. It's in a child B class. Okay, so this is a variable we need to set, and then this is a function we need to emit or send when the emission. So let's go in here and create a variable called child B message, and initially it's going to be set to blank. Okay, and then right in here we have a function called send to parent. When this function is invoked, we're going to send this message, which is bound to the text area, and we're going to send that through this object or this property. So this message from child B dot emit, this is the function that sends the data over. So the data will be the child message, this child B message. Okay, so that's sent over to the parent, and the parent receives it, and so the parent receives it here, and it sends that as an event to the receive from B function. The B function here receives the message, and then you assign that to the B message here. This message gets output to the Vue. It's going to be placed waiting to whatever the message is. We print a message to a console, we received it, and so on. So let's go back in here and put the message down here. We'll just say console log. I put here child B sending message. I'll put the message here. This child B message. Okay, we print that to the console, and so we know that has been sent. Okay, so now you run this, it may not work because we need to probably, as you can see, cannot bind ng model. Okay, if you do this, you need to bind to, because you're using form control and so on, the ng model. That means you have to import the forms module to the application. So you can do here in the child component, or usually you do something like that. You go to the root component and takes care of everything, right? So go to the add module and let's import the forms module from the form. Okay, so from the Angular form right here, and then we're gonna add that to the imports down here. Forms module. All right, here we go. That should take care of the forms, and I can close this now. Let's go back and see if that is fixed. Okay, so there we go. Almost correct. I don't see the text area here. Maybe something is not correct. Let's see. Press F12 and see the errors. Yep, nothing shows up there. I don't see the text area in the box here. Okay, well, let's go back and see why it's not showing up. So back in the code, yeah, I'm not sure why. I don't see any errors either. So maybe it's just gonna rerun my app again and see what happens. So let's do ng-serve again and see if that would recompile. Maybe that would solve the problem. I'm not sure. All right, so let's go and check again. There you go. It came back. It's a compilation error. So the message is a little bit too tight, but I'm gonna. It's kind of hard to see here now because of this footer thing. So if I type something here, for example, and let me just close this for now. If I type in hi, if I send hi, you see that the message has been sent to the parent, right? This is from child B, and the message has been resent to the parent component. And the F12, it's hard to see this way, but you see the parent messages has been received down here. I mean, the B sending the message, and then the parent receives that message right here. Okay, so it's working very nicely as expected. And again, if I just go and clean that up, put here message again, and you hit enter, and you see that it's sending message again and receive in the parent. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now, another thing you can do is, of course, this button a little bit high, but you can make it so that every keystroke you type will be sent to the parent, right? Instead of having to click the button, you can make it so that every changes you do here can also send a message live. And we can do that really easily in Angular. So let's do that. And close this now. In the child B component HTML right here, this text area, I can keep the button as is. I can let me add like a margin here. I don't know, a margin top 2. Okay. Now I do the same thing. I just basically bind to this tag here when I make changes. I do right in front here. So when I do a event of some sort, I can call the same function, send it to parent. But what kind of event is it? Well, it's going to be, is it a change? Well, it won't be a change. I would say probably a key up or key down. So we can say a key up event, right? When do a key up event, then I'm going to send that message to the user and send a message live. And it calls the same function here, by the way. So let's see if this works. If I go and type something here, I probably had it wrong. Let's go back and put here, maybe just key up. Key up. Let's see one more time. Let's see. As you can see now, the message as soon as I type something, it sends right away. So I say hello from child B. Here we go. So this is how you send data from the child to the parent component.